According to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, quote, on average nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States. During 1 year, this equates to more than 10 million women and men. End quote. Greencastle, Indiana is not exempt from the issue of domestic violence. In the second episode of the Unexamined, I met with Scott Monnett, the Executive Director of Family Support Services of West Central Indiana, and Elizabeth Butts, the Domestic Violence and Prevention Program Director of Family Support Services. Family Support Services of West Central Indiana is, quote, dedicated to preventing childhood abuse, supporting new families, and responding to the critical needs of primary and secondary victims of violence.
My name is Elizabeth Butts. I'm the Program Director for the Domestic Violence Sexual Assault Prevention Program. I have been with Family Support Services of West Central Indiana for the last 20 years. I actually started out doing two internships here and fell in love with the work, and it became my passion, and that's why I've stayed for a very long time. And I still have a passion for what I'm doing.
My name is Scott Monnett, and I'm the Executive Director of Family Support Services. I've been here 2 years with the organization, but in the 20 years of my career, I've spent the majority of time working in nonprofit leadership and fundraising and development, mainly in youth serving and family serving organizations. We want to prevent abuse of all kinds in our community, domestic violence, sexual assault, child abuse, as well as support families building a healthy family home and preventing or supporting addictive services within our community, rehab services. Our domestic violence and sexual assault victim services program, we serve 3 counties, Park, Putnam, and Clay, Park, Putnam, and Clay counties. And we are the provider for those 3 counties to provide victim services in those 3 counties.
We are a trauma-informed care agency, and we use a trauma-informed care approach. And that means building trust and making a victim feel very comfortable when they first walk through the doors. Most generally, they've been experiencing abuse for a very long time, and the first step is very hard when they walk through those doors. It's very difficult for them to be able to achieve that and feel safe in doing it. So we want them to feel safe and build trust. So we greet them with a trauma-informed care approach, and then we connect them with an advocate. We do a lot of listening and a lot of acknowledging of what they've been through, and we give them a lot of support. Our services are client-driven, so we try to help them identify what their immediate needs are, what their safety needs are, and with the client, we create a plan for them, and we let them guide us on what the services that they need. And so then it grows from there. And there's 50 and more valid reasons that keep victims in an abusive relationship. And it's not an event that happens. If you're being abused, it's not, okay, I've been abused, I'm walking out the door. There's a lot of things involved, and it's a process. So, when somebody gets in a relationship, most generally, it's subtle abuse that happens, and then it just grows and grows and grows. And if you've grown up in a home that you've witnessed abuse, that becomes normal to you, and so you don't recognize a lot of the signs. You get wrapped up in the abusive relationship, you have children, there's financial issues, and you love that person, and you want to think that you can change that person and they will become non-abusive. But and maybe there's drugs and alcohol involved, which don't cause domestic violence. They certainly enhance it, but they don't cause it. That's a learned behavior that someone has learned over their lifespan to how to solve problems. They relate love with pain. They relate problem solving with violence.
Often in the community, when I'm talking, individuals say, well, who comes through the doors, right? And they ask, and they're asking in sense of demographic. Who are that individual? Who are those individuals? And one of the things I tell every group is we've got some very prominent individuals that have walked through the doors of this organization, and we've got some that we have seen multiple times over many years that have walked through the doors. There are no lines on who is impacted by domestic violence and sexual assault and child abuse in our community.
Right.
There are no lines and there are no definitions. The most affluent and the most impoverished and everybody in between really, fit our profile of who we serve. The Me Too movement took on a different shape and different form from what Ms. Burke wanted it to be when she started. But what it's done is bring awareness, and for us, whether it's national media, whether it's local media, she came and did a presentation last year on campus. It gives us a tool and it brings awareness locally to make this worldwide phenomenon that everybody sees on the news every night on a regular basis. It brings awareness local.
For many years, we've partnered with public safety in assisting students from DePauw or staff from DePauw or just anyone in the community that have access services. Mainly, we help with obtaining protective orders for individuals in the communities that we serve. And last year, so far this year, we've assisted 564 clients in obtaining protective orders. And that's our connection with DePauw Public Safety too. We've assisted in getting protective orders for individuals that they refer to our program too. As far as having a center, that could be a possibility in the future. We're always open for change and growth, but our advocates are mobile. So if someone on DePauw campus would need assistance, we could come to them. They will have access to us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We are there to support you. Everything that we do with any of individuals we work with is confidential. We want to be there for you, give you support, give you the information you need to make a decision. If you wanted to leave an abusive relationship, we can support you in that. But we can also just support you if you want to just come in and talk to somebody.
Even if you don't know.
Yeah.
Even if something just doesn't feel right, come talk to us and let us help you with that. I tell people all the time, don't feel like you have to do this alone or figure it out whether or not you want to walk in the door. If you're not sure, come. If you have a friend, a classmate, somebody that you live with, in the proximity, come, bring them. But you can come get information and take it to them, and or bring them to the door, and we can help.
Each year, Family Support Services of West Central Indiana serves over 1,000 families through their domestic and sexual violence prevention and intervention programs, Healthy Families, and other outreach programs, demonstrating that with the national issue of domestic violence taking place on the local scale of Greencastle, Indiana, it's integral to have an organization like Family Support Services of West Central Indiana. I'm Cailey Griffin. Thank you for joining me on episode 2 of The Unexamined.